Looking for a fast-charging, ultra-responsive stylus for your iPad? Meet the 2X Fast Charge Active Stylus Pen, designed for 2018 to 2025 Apple iPads. Take your creativity and productivity to the next level. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Welcome to Starscene Scoop. I've got some mixed news for fans of the Karate Kid franchise. Karate Kid Legends just dropped, and it's a reboot that tries to revive the classic formula, but unfortunately, it falls flat in its attempt to create a legacy sequel. Now, when watching this new take on the Karate Kid story, you'll notice that it shares some familiar beats with other iterations of the franchise. I mean, every protagonist is at one point likened to a Chinese Peter Parker. Whether they're facing off against bullies linked to a new love interest or participating in a martial arts tournament. It's almost like each iteration exists in the same timeline as the last, which raises some questions about how these similarities keep popping up without anyone passing comment. The movie could have worked if it were a standalone adventure, but for most of its runtime, it succeeds only because of its fresh take on a familiar formula. Young Li Fong adjusts to life in New York after moving from Beijing, where he was an apprentice to Jackie Chan's Mr. Han. But as the story unfolds, Mr. Han comes to New York and then suddenly decides he needs to visit Daniel LaRusso in Los Angeles, all without much explanation or context. Now, I'm not a fan of Cobra Kai, but even they would feel shortchanged by this lack of narrative ties. It feels like an odd elephant in the room when we're introduced to Daniel in LA, especially since you'd think continuity would be an asset here rather than a hindrance. The issue is that the film can't commit fully to being a reboot for a new generation or paying homage to its own history. However, there's one aspect where Karate Kid Legends truly shines: its pacing and action sequences. Director Jonathan Entwistle brings a family-friendly energy to the movie, prioritizing fight scenes that feel more like a gateway to martial arts cinema than your typical Karate Kid film. The Five Boroughs tournament is presented as a city-hopping montage where you get to see all the fights in real time. It's a great way to let younger viewers grasp the rules without slowing down for exposition. But while this third act gets things moving, it comes at the expense of fleshing out character drama and leaves the universe-unifying fan service feeling entirely unjustifiable within the narrative. When Karate Kid Legends is allowed to be its own story, though, it's actually quite charming, reminiscent of the 1984 original. Overall, if you're looking for a fresh take on the Karate Kid formula without relying too heavily on nostalgia, Karate Kid Legends might be worth checking out. But if you're expecting a genuine legacy sequel with meaningful ties to its own history, you'll likely be left feeling disappointed.